Dana's orthopedist informed us that, with our permission, he would take x-rays and data to a national orthopedist convention to get other doctors' opinions before he made a decision as to an approach to keep the bone from breaking. Of course, we gave him our blessing to do so, as the master at hand seemed grave. We were extra careful because we knew that the ankle was turning because of only one bone, and I knew enough about lever arms and torque that I especially was concerned, probably more so than Sheila, even though she showed her concern more outwardly. Dana's sisters were informed of the situation, and both were especially careful when playing with Dana and keeping her safe. Dr. Warman returned from the convention, discussed with us the decision that he made. He said he around a table with a number of orthopedists. The decision was to operate, take the bone from the hip, place it along the ankle, set the bone in place with screws. If all went well, the good hip bone would fuse with the NF's weakened bone and would provide support she needed to grow. Our little 5-year-old went to our first operation. It was scary for Sheila and me to think that 2 operations were occurring, the hip bone removal and the grafting that would occur near the ankle. I shuddered to think that screws would be used to set the hold and graft the hip bone in place. We both wanted to go in with Dana to the operating table to keep her calm before the surgery. The doctor would only allow one of us to do so. Sheila and I decided that I would be the better choice to be with Dana as she entered the operating room. Sheila was concerned that she would start crying and scare Dana just before she administered anesthesia. I made arrangements with the doctor to go in with her. As soon as the doctor had anesthetized her, I would leave the operating room, all well and good, or so I thought. The anesthesiologist had warned me that once the chemicals started taking effect, her eyes would roll upward and I would simply see wide eyes. I heard him say it, thought I was prepared for it, thought I could handle what was going to happen. The anesthesiologist was joking with her, pretending to put the mask on himself and inhale. He then asked her to do the same, and she did. She giggled, a quick giggle. Her eyes rolled up into the back of her head, and she fell back into the doctor's arms, limp and lifeless. I burst out bawling, and the doctor directed me to the door. Between tears, I ran out, only to miss the opening and run smack dab into the middle of the doorpost. The second attempt worked. I was outside the door and in tears. Sheila, thinking the worst, grabbed me and started crying too. I gained enough composure to tell her Dana is okay. Then I did my best to try and explain my outburst of tears as Dana went under. The surgery progressed as planned. The hip bone was grafted and screws secured the bone mass, and we waited. Dana was confined to the wheelchair for weeks as she was not allowed to put any weight on her leg. The doctor checked her progress every few weeks. After a few months passed, Dana healed. Dr. Warner was ecstatic as the bones had fused. She still needed her brace, but there was less likelihood of the ankle or tibia breaking. Since Dana was still confined to a brace, she wore jeans most of the time to reduce the questions from inquiring minds. Dana was never allowed to jump on a trampoline, ice skate, or roller skate. To some extent, we didn't allow the other girls to participate in these activities either, because we were so afraid that Dana might sneak away and try to roller skate with them. We did give her some time on the trampoline, but she had to sit with her legs crossed while an older sister would jump, allowing her to bounce. She seemed to enjoy it, and she was well aware that she was not allowed to jump by herself. The doctor would not only allow her to do many things. She could not play in sports, be it soccer or softball. She could only dance if the dance floors were organized with individuals being at specific places. Square dancing is a good example of this, and as long as she learned the moves, her doctors allowed her to participate. We all had taken square dancing lessons, and Dana caught on quickly. We would go to square dancing lessons or go to square dances every week, and the girls all got pretty good at it. Dana was so very good at it at a young age that she would often help teach new square dancers the calls. The calls were direct, the caller signs into the music for the group to move harmoniously. In school, Dana was limited to what she could do. The doctor would not allow her to participate in PE class, but she was indeed allowed to participate in marching band. Thankfully, the marching band counted as a PE credit. She loved marching band. As an An astute observer might see that she had trouble making some of the transitions on the field due to the cumbersome brace, but she never did complain. I didn't know until she graduated from high school that some bullies had made fun of her braces and made rude remarks to her throughout the school year. "You will never have a boyfriend," they would say. "Who wants to date someone wearing a brace?" And "I'm amused you actually have friends." It was hard to fight back the anger when she had actually admitted that she had been harassed. Now, Dana was loved by her teachers that they would often say such things as, "Dana is such a sweet girl." Often, teachers told us that they wished they had a classroom full of Danas. Dana never used the brace as an excuse to get out of work, unless it was something that could physically harm her leg, such as long jumping. Why calloused and uncivilized individuals like to spend time brutally mean to others is a question I would like answered. Dana never let on that these kids were harassing her. This goes to show that some children try to take the burden themselves, and less than palpable individuals will still be jerks. After Dana informed us too late to do anything about it, Gina had also informed us that in high school she had been harassed because of her speech. Things like this make a parent want to cry. One of those individuals, who was overwhelmingly rude to Dana, and apparently enjoyed make rude remarks about the brace, has recently been hired by my school district as a teacher and coach. I have long since forgiven this man for his behavior as a teenager, but it is still hard to initiate conversation with him. Our children were resilient and moved forward. I must do so too. Dana had regular checkups about every 3 to 6 months. We were informed that the operation she had at 5 years of age might actually stunt the growth of the leg, and additional operations may be necessary. Interestingly, the leg that should have experienced stunted growth from neurofibromatosis and the operation started to outgrow the leg with normal and healthy bones. Strange things do happen. We had to schedule another operation on Dana's leg with the bow. Dana's next operation resulting in placing some screws in the growth plates so that the NF leg would not be longer than the healthy leg. We developed a good relationship with our orthopedist, and during Dana's junior year of high school, he released her from his care, allowing her to shed the brace that had been a part of her life for 16 years. He assured us that both legs were strong and healthy. A few years ago, after the bone graft operation, we asked Dr. Warman what had caused his change in personality. You see, for so many years he was aloof, straight-talking, to the point, and never did we see him laugh. Yet during the past few years, he chased our kids down the halls, laughed and joked with them. They laughed and giggled at his jokes, and he listened to their stories and shared with them some of his own. He was a man totally changed from when we first met him many years before. He was always a straight shooter, so I already expected his response, but I asked anyways. "Why, doctor, are you now so relaxed when you were so serious the first time we brought Dana in a few years ago?" His response was that he was worried about the possibility of amputation by the time she was a teenager. Indeed, that would have been resulting in very sobering behavior. I am glad I was not in his shoes. Dr. Orman is by far one of my favorite doctors in the medical profession. Dana tried out for drum major in high school, marching band her sophomore year, but did not get the position. I asked her if she was interested in trying out next year. "No, Dad, I don't think so. I like marching too much," she said. Dana did indeed try out for drum major her junior year and became one her senior year in high school. Like her sisters, she loved playing the trumpet. All three of them played, but she also loved the role as one of the drum majors. Dana graduated and followed her sisters to Nacogdoches, Texas, and Stephen F. Austin State University. She also became a member of the university's lumberjack marching band. She also joined the same co-ed service fraternity that her sisters joined. Sheila and I now have 3 daughters that were fraternity brothers. With the lumberjack band, she marched in the Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City on November 26, 2015. Interestingly, prior to marching in the parade, she was getting out of a car, slipped in the rain, and had her foot run over by a car pulling away. The day before she flew out to New York. Yes, it was the foot with the bone grafts and the pins. Did she bother to let us know? Only after the parade, when Gina forced her to confess, did we hear the story. Gina and Dana were both marching in the parade that year, and Gina promised Dana, at Dana's instance, that she would keep quiet about the incident until after the parade. "But, Dad, you wouldn't have let me march if you knew." Right, you are a child. Right, you are. During her senior year at Stephen F. Austin, she traveled with the marching band to Ireland to march in the Dublin Parade. Apparently, there were no incidents with her leg during the Dublin trip. She had a wonderful experience and took hundreds of pictures. Dana graduated magna cum laude from Stephen F. Austin State University in December 2018, after 3.5 years. She could have graduated a semester prior but wanted to have 4 years with the marching band, so her final semester was an easy one, a humanities class and marching band. I think the only reason she wanted the 7th semester was to get the quilt that the lumberjack band was awarded all of its 4-year members. Looking at the gorgeous quilt, it was probably worth it. Yes, Dana has other medical issues. She has a tumor by her eye, and Dr. Donaldson has removed it twice. She may need to have it removed in the future again, as these tumor cells were so intertwined with healthy cells that it is impossible for a surgeon to get all of it out during surgery. With the last eye surgery she had, she recalls the doctors walking her up halfway through the surgery to get her to blink so they could measure the length that the tendon needed to be tied. This particular tendon was in control of her eyelid and needed to be long enough to allow her to close her eye, yet short enough so that the lid did not look droopy. The doctors did a pretty good job, and I am uncertain that anyone could possibly have done better. If a person were to look closely, her lid doesn't seem to go up as far as the other eyelid. It may be a result of the tendon length, or it could be a result of scar tissue too. Overall, the doctors do a remarkable job, and we are both grateful. Because of the NF, she has had her share of both leg and eye surgeries. Regardless of the setbacks and surgeries, she has the attitude of a winner and made her parents proud. Dana has a 1200cc motorcycle that she loves to ride, and she got her concealed carry permit a couple of years ago. She is always looking for interesting and antique firearms. I would much rather see her collecting firearms and handguns than collecting braces.